You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Quinn, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Matt, I'm doing good, man. It got a little cold right now, but I'm trying to get over it and get ready for a big football game this weekend.
I want to talk about the weather in a second. Let me first start with an update on KJ Jefferson. Everyone down here is just waiting to see what the news is. What's the latest? What can you tell us?
Well, my gut tells me he's going to play. My gut tells me he's going to attempt to play. KJ is such a competitor. And he does not want to miss out on any of these types of games. He believes he can be a big difference maker, and I think this football team understands he can be a big difference maker as well. So my gut says he's going to play. My gut also says he's not, as healthy as he needs to be, because when you talk about Arkansas and you talk about them being very effective on offense, they have the conventional run game with Rocket, the inside zone, the outside zone, the G power, and that offensive line being very physical. But when things get tough, it's all about inserting the quarterback into the run game. And when you insert the quarterback into the run game, that forces a defense to play responsibility football. That's what we were not able to do last week versus Liberty. I mean, we didn't start running KJ until the fourth quarter. So, he's such a key cog to Arkansas and how they run their offense. But, Malik is very dangerous as well. And I think with the way that he played against Mississippi State, I think people understand that he can create big plays as well.
Quinn, can you walk us through KJ's injury? Because we know he was hurt against Bama and then missed state and took a week off. So can you just walk us through what's happened with him this year?
Well, I think it's just a product, Matt, of just absolutely being beat up. I think it goes from, the obvious one where there was a quote unquote concussion, where you're dealing with mental stuff, and then all of a sudden, you're 6'3", 255 pounds, and you're taking shot after shot. So it's more of a shoulder injury that he's dealing with, more of like a clavicle. Mm-hmm. And so that's the big thing when you talk about trying to throw the football. You've got to stay warm with that. I had a separated shoulder when I was playing, and that was one of the toughest things I had to deal with, trying to throw the football. It's tough. And then when you talk about potential temperatures in the 40s, if you're sitting over there on the sideline and you're not loose, that can cause you problems. But I just believe that the biggest issue that KJ is dealing with is that clavicle. And, when you want to lower your shoulder and create contact, that's one of the toughest things to do, and, that's where you're going to feel a lot of pain.
Quinn Grovey's with us, former Arkansas quarterback, now part of the Arkansas Radio Network. He's on Twitter at Quinn Grovey4. Y'all give him a follow. Great info on the Hogs. How different, you alluded to it a bit, but how different is the Arkansas offense if KJ Jefferson is unavailable or if he's limited?
It's different just simply because I think KJ gives the entire football team a whole lot of confidence. Not saying that Malik doesn't, but when KJ's on the field, there's a lot of swagger. There's a lot of confidence that, one, you're not going to turn it over, that you're going to get the team in the right play and out of the right play. And I think that having him on the field gives the defense and special teams and the coaching staff a lot of confidence. Mm-hmm. When you have a guy like Malik on the field, he's a game changer now. He can go. But he just hadn't done it. And so KJ's done it. I think people believe that when he's on the field that good things are going to happen. Malik is a guy that is the unknown quantity. But he's very dynamic. So to answer your question, belief is the biggest thing. I think belief in the system, belief that things are going to be operated in the right way. I think that is the thing that KJ gives you, consistency, and you're not going to turn it over with Malik. It's the wild card. It's a home run hitter. Like if you're out of position in 1/2 of a second, Malik can get to the house on you, and that's what he could do in the run game. He's not going to be as physical as KJ, running in between tackles and on the goal line, but he's a guy that can go 75 or 80 on you really, really quickly. And before you know it, the band is playing. He has a strong arm. and he can make every throw. He's just not as accurate as KJ, and that's something he'll have to work on. But I'm just telling you right now, when I look at Malik, he's very similar, in my opinion, like in body frame to Jaden Daniels. Like when I saw him first go to Arizona State. Jaden Daniels was like a really skinny guy. He's still pretty skinny right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when most people look at Malik, that is the body style or the comparison that I would lend to. And Jaden's had 131 carries on the season. I mean, nobody's really beaten him up. He's figured it out how to put this football team on his back. And so, we're hoping Malik can do some of those same things for us if he has to play.
When the offense has struggled, what has been the culprit?
When the offense has struggled, we hadn't been able to run the ball. I mean, that's just really that's it. There is no other rhyme or reason, because when you look at Arkansas, our identity is to run the football. And then last week versus Liberty, they had 14 tackles for loss. They had 4 sacks. And so when I watched Liberty on tape, I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I understand you're number one in the independent in sacks and tackles for loss. But I did not believe that was going to translate to an SEC football team. But they did a nice job of creating lost yardage plays. And so if you're Arkansas offensively, if you create lost yardage plays and you put them in 3rd and long, that's the situation that a lot of SEC teams have tried to do, but they hadn't been able to do it. And Liberty did it, and I'm sure LSU is looking at the same thing, creating lost yardage plays on 1st and 2nd down, and then trying to get a banged-up quarterback in 3rd and long.
Quinn Grovey's with us, previewing the Arkansas Razorbacks. I want to flip the field, talk about the Hog defense a little bit. Early in the season, that secondary was sort of much maligned, the passing yards they gave up. Is that still an issue, giving up big yards in the passing game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still an issue for us, and we're continuing to work through it. We actually brought a freshman who was a freshman wide receiver for us, a guy named Quincy McAdoo. We had him playing at the cornerback position late in the game versus Liberty. Came in, blocked the punt. Did a nice job of coming up with a huge interception. I mean, he was just really, really good. So Sam and Barry are still tinkering with this secondary. This is a secondary that gives up a lot of chunk plays, and that's the thing that has caused us a lot of problems. So they've got to find a way to limit chunk plays with Jaden Daniels in the air for sure. But we've moved a lot of different people around. Hudson Clark was one of our cornerbacks, moved from cornerback to safety. We brought in Quincy McAdoo. So, yeah, the secondary is still struggling. Sure would be nice to have old Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché over here. That would help us out a whole lot right now.
Well, it's interesting because where LSU's been weak has been at corner at times this year, and obviously Dwight McLaughlin's playing at Arkansas now.
Yeah.
Is that, as a former player, I'd love to know your thoughts on that, because it's not only Dwight but also Landon Jackson. And then you mentioned Brooks and Fouché, who are now playing for LSU and have just been playmakers all season. Man, as a former, what's that like watching these guys just basically switch teams?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think Arkansas has done a really nice job of really working the transfer portal. Even though you lose some guys like that who could help you, you're able to bring some guys in. And I'm gonna tell you what, you were on our podcast, the Razorback Daily, Matt, and you talked about McLaughlin. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and you said he was a dog. He is a dog, and he doesn't care. I mean, he is one of the cornerbacks that has been somebody that I've said teams you really don't want to mess with, because he is very active. He understands what's going on. He'll intercept the football and make things happen. So we're happy to have him. Landon Jackson as well has been very good for us. So it's been a 2-for-2 swap, but it's worked out for both teams, I would say. But we would like to keep all 4, but that's just really not in the cards.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you about special teams. If it comes down to special teams field position to kick, how are the Hogs in the third phase?
Well, we're good at the kicking phase with the field goal kicker Cam Little. Very good, very accurate. I mean, he's a kicker that has a whole lot of confidence. And so he feels very comfortable going in a situation. He missed one against Texas A&M at the end of the game, and I know that is just eating him alive. But we have a lot of faith in Cam Little. And then from a punting game, Reed Bauer is our punter now. We switch punters, but we feel comfortable with that. We've got a guy that can actually kick the ball through the end zone, so I don't think kickoff is going to be an issue. But it's going to come down to that punt return game and how you handle that. And I think that's going to be a big key. And anytime you get into the red zone and you don't have an opportunity to score 7 points, your field goal kicker is going to have to make points. I think it's going to be closer than what people think. I know. I mean, I look at Vegas. I think it started off at 3. I think it's now 5 or something like that. I don't know, but I do believe that this is going to be a tight one because it's always been a tight one, and we'll see what happens.
I don't know if has it jumped to 5. I hadn't seen that it jumped to 5.
I think it has.
I'm looking at 3.5 right now at DraftKings.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a stinky line, man. It's got a lot of people here a little nervous and on edge, wondering what's going on there? Why is that line what it is? You did mention the weather. Your boots on the ground there. It's supposed to be in the 30s on Saturday morning. So what do you expect that to play a role on Saturday?
Well, it's only going to play a role if LSU lets it play a role.
Okay.
I know, a couple of years ago they came here and they had the heaters on the sideline. It was like 40, and they were drinking hot chocolate on the sideline and all that kind of stuff. Look, if they're concerned about that kind of stuff, then they're going to have something to deal with because it's going to be low 40s, and so we'll have to see what happens with that. But I think the weather could play a factor, especially 11 o'clock in the morning.
Gordy Rush sends his best, by the way.
That's my guy.
Don't tell him that. Tell him I'm your guy and he's not your guy. Tell him that.
Well, you're my guy too now. There's no doubt about it.
Quinn, we appreciate you, man. Enjoy the game on Saturday. We always appreciate a couple of minutes.
All right, Matt. See you, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.